161st Street, Yankee Stadium.
Swung on and hit in the air. The deep center. Gets back, away back. She is gone. He made the catch. He made the play.
All right, welcome back to the Boys of 161st Street, episode 215. Today is July 14th, and the Yankees have played 2 games so far against the Reds, and they get the walk-off. It's an ugly walk-off. Last night, me and Chandler were at the game. The first game, they get the loss, so at least they won't get swept by the Reds, which the Reds are quite possibly one of the worst teams in baseball. Them or the Athletics. It's almost pick your poison at that point with who's worse, but a lot of things happen. So how you doing, boys?
Sounds of the city.
Good. I would appreciate if you didn't try and mute yourself when we had nice sounds of the city. Makes us look more authentic. But
You don't get those sirens everywhere. You gotta, you don't get those up north.
they don't.
Just want to make sure the audio experience is great for all listeners. Some people might hate the city. Murph hates the city. I'm sure he wouldn't like to hear the city sounds in the background.
I don't hate the city.
If you're listening to a show about your favorite team that was based in a city, I'd want to hear the sounds of the city.
Yeah,
As
no,
somebody
I'm
who
all right
didn't
with
always
hearing
live
it.
here.
I don't know. I don't know that that's true. But either way, we got a lot to get into today. Luis Severino gets pulled early in that game. He gives up back-to-back home runs against the 7, 8, 9 hitters. We found out later that he was obviously hurt. He has a lat strain. He might be done forever. So we'll get into that in more detail. But they say he's going to miss a couple weeks, but I wouldn't buy that. But yeah, I mean, we noticed even, I guess we could start with that because we noticed in the game, there was the report that was pulled out there after, he was done pitching. We saw the velo and he was sitting at 94, which, as you know, Luis Severino does not throw 94. Even post injury, he's been sitting high 90s, and he's allegedly hit 103 that one day. So maybe he did actually hit 103 that day and he got hurt.
No, the radar is broken. I stand by that.
Now he's broken.
I don't know.
He is broken.
Hopefully it's just what they say it is. If it is what they say it is, which they never are correct on that, but if they are, then doesn't really do much for me. It was bound to happen. He hasn't thrown this many innings in a couple years. If he has a little bit, if it's truly just like a little bit of soreness and he misses a start and then you have the All-Star break and everything, fine. If it does snowball into what it usually is, then I'm concerned, and that's a whole other conversation. But I'm not ready to write him off yet. I mean, the pessimistic side of me, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, great, Luis Severino's dead. It's time to turn him to glue. But looking back on it, if he's back right after the All-Star break, he misses a start or two, fine. That's expected from a guy who hasn't thrown in 2 years.
No Absolutely. Part of me thinks that he's going to pitch this year.
Well, we have no reason to think he's going to. That not with the way that the Yankees have handled injuries over the last 3-4 years. But if for some reason he is back and it really is just minor, then what are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this.
Say it.
The lower body soreness of Aaron Judge, I mean, it's still, I guess, there. I mean, he is still playing, but we thought he was going to be out forever, and we all kind of overreacted, and it turned out to not be anything. As of right now, it's nothing. So I don't know. I'm just using that to be a little bit more optimistic to say, oh, maybe it actually is just a soreness. But the recent history of the Yankees telling us what's wrong with players, it's hard to believe what they're saying, but I'm trying to be a little more optimistic.
That's an interesting point too, because, Aaron Judge is in a walk year. So is Luis Severino. We just were chatting about the contract before this, and I was trying to do some of the math on the numbers, and maybe I was diving a little too deep into it, but evidently I was trying to get to the point where would you pick up his option, because he's done after this year, at least on this contract, and he has an option that we can pick up. And what were the numbers on that option? It was $2.5 million to exercise the option or to activate it, and then
$15 million for the option, or $2.75 to buy him out.
Yeah. So okay, that makes sense. So $15 million. Basically, for those that don't know how this works, it's like if you're a fan of football, it's like a franchise tag. So you tag this player for this agreed upon amount, $15 million, and then you have him for one extra year. Just to give some context, over the last 3 years, excluding 2020, in 2019, 2021, 2022, he's thrown 104 innings pitched. Over that same time frame, I'd say the average starting pitcher would probably hit around 450, assuming they throw 150 innings per year. And for the guy that Luis Severino is and should be, if he wasn't injury prone, he's a top flight guy when healthy. He should be up in the upper 180s to potentially 200 if you're going to be like in the Cy Young race that we expected this guy to be when he got this contract. So I'm almost barring a major comeback this year and he just proves me completely wrong. I don't think the way that he's in my mind, he's officially injury prone, and you can definitely say that. And then I'm just saying now, if he barring a wild comeback and he just returns to form, I don't see what he can do to get 15 million out of me. Honestly,
I think that is just a lazy argument.
How is that
So-
lazy?
Because you don't know what if he misses one start and he's not.
Then
worth
if he
it,
misses one start, then that's different. That's not at all. That's how is
don't
that
know what it
lazy?
is,
I'm just
though.
saying. I'm assuming based on his
you're not-
prior
you don't
track
want a
record that he's
top
not
player.
going to be. He's injury prone. So I'm assuming he's going to continue to be injured.
Tommy John. I was on.
I
your
have some
side
breaking
of
news.
this too. Oh, lay it on me, Damon. Luis
Severino
said-
placed on a 15-day IL with right lat strain.
Low grade.
What we just.
That's not breaking news. We knew that.
That's what prompted.
That's
Why
what
would we not
stemmed
talk
this.
about that?
That's what stemmed this conversation.
Well, I didn't know he's on the IL already.
Welcome in, Damon.
So
I didn't know he was already on the 15.
Breaking
I didn't know he
news:
was already on the
Luis
15
Severino
day.
is on the Yankees.
okay. So
Okay,
I'd
you
be
just-
shocked
you
if
didn't
you
say-
just
you didn't
break
say it was on the
Breaking
IL.
news:
I don't
Luis
think-
Severino signs a 4-year extension with the Yankees. In
Fuck off. No,
2018.
nobody said he was on the IL yet.
Does
I think
anybody
if
know?
he misses one start, or if he's truly just 15 days on and off, especially with the All-Star break coming up, everything like that, I don't think you can call him injury prone because so much of that was Tommy John surgery. Tommy John is not like a lat strain. If it's a true lat strain, he misses time, like actual time, then fine. I will give that to you every day of the week. I don't think that you can label him one thing or the other. Say you're not going to pick up a contract, whatever the case may be, based on what just happened today. And I was on your side originally, but I think we were a little emotional. So
Why does Tommy John not count towards injuries? I'm curious.
it doesn't count towards being injury prone. It's not like
Why?
it's not like a soft muscle problem. Like you didn't pull it. It's a snapped ligament.
I would
almost
argue that
every
it's
pitcher
worse
goes through.
because you have a more major injury.
Think about how many pitchers get
So
Tommy
every
John though and
pitcher
aren't
that's ever
injury
had
prone.
Tommy John is injury prone, is what you because they've missed a year, so they're injury prone. That's just no. I mean, the year
Brian
before
Wilson
that-
got Tommy John on purpose.
Yeah,
Like,
that's-
That's not what he did. He got Tommy John so he
No,
could
no, no.
have
He-
the surgery. He
he-
elected to have surgery.
he threw dumbbells at a wall so that he could get Tommy John.
What, to have a clean break?
no, there's actually people
Because he
that
thought it
will
would make him throw harder. People
Yeah,
get it, yeah, early in
people
their
that
career.
will get it early in their career that'll opt to have it because it's so common and it's becoming a routine surgery that people will go under the knife earlier, even if it's not necessarily a dire situation because it's so common. So I don't think you can call somebody injury prone. That's like calling somebody injury prone because they snapped their leg getting tackled. Like it happens.
Been there, brother.
So
Yeah.
can I ask? I don't know anything medical. Low grade lat. What is that? Like I know what a lat is, but like what does that mean? Does that mean it's going to be 15 days, or does that
that in
mean
your
it's gonna
leg?
be
No,
15 days and then he's going
I
to go
know
on
where
for
it is.
10 or for 60? Like how? What's the time frame on a low grade lat strain?
For
Let me-
Severino,
let
a
me-
year.
I
Okay,
mean,
what-
you were. This
I'm
is just
kidding.
like. I think we need to let Murph and Damon hash this out because you and I were both the polar opposite ends of the spectrum. You and I both represent the extremes of this, and we have for a year and a half now.
Me and you are Skip Bayless versus
Stephen A.
Stephen A.
You've literally, like, since the second he got Tommy John, like, yeah, I think Luis Severino's cooked. He probably shouldn't have a family anymore. Like, he is the worst human
Didn't
alive.
say that. I
I've
like
been saying
Severino
it
as a
for
guy.
10 straight Cy
And-
Young. So we need to let the people who are in the middle talk about this because you and I just arguing isn't going to do fucking anything.
All right, I'll put it this way. Well, Damon, you can go first actually.
You already have a thought. Go
Can we
for it.
ask you
I'll-
guys the question? Would you guys just start with this and then you can defend it? Would you pick up the $15 million option? Go.
If he's out for the rest of the year, no. But if it's
Even
a
if he comes back.
15-day or even a 25-day IL stint and he comes back and is pitching the way he was before, I'm absolutely picking up that option. It's a no-brainer because if you let him walk and free, you're going to pay him almost $3 million to walk, and then somebody's going to re-sign him for like 18 or something. It'll probably be a short-term contract, and then if
A
he's
la Noah
pitching through
Syndergaard.
October, and you really think he's injury prone and he gets hurt next year, fine, you took a gamble on a guy. But if he doesn't, and he has a year similar to this year, whether he has an injury list stint or not, you're paying $15 million for a guy that's worth way over that when he's healthy. So obviously we'll see, but
Yeah, I think that if this lat strain is only really a short-term issue and he finishes out the rest of the year without any major time missed, then yes, I would also pick up the option because he's proven to me at least that he is a valuable piece in this
The talent
rotation.
hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah, the talent is still there. Like the raw, the mindset is still there. Like that raw emotion, like the way he goes out there and pitches every fifth day, that has not changed whatsoever. Obviously, like it takes time coming back from an injury, but if his entire career and all we're talking about for the next 2 years is him coming back from an injury and being satisfied with okay starts and then going back and saying, oh, it's fine. It was an okay start. He's come back from an injury, but we've been saying that for fucking forever now, for his entire career. So if we continue to do that, then I'm not picking up the option. But if he does throw this rest of the season without any major time missed, then I think we should do it because he obviously the skill set is still there. And if he continues to try and be healthy, at least to an extent, there's no reason not to.
Okay, better question then. I agree. I think the talent's completely there. And I agree. If he comes back, I wouldn't be upset with taking the $15 million option. I just really...
You asked for the time frame. You ready for the time frame?
Hold on. I really just don't think... My basis was I don't think he's going to come back and be healthy on the way back. But other question that I wanted to ask was, knowing that how the Yankees operate with extending people or putting contracts out for people that have injury history in the past, they think about players like that in the same light that I am right now, not in the same light that you guys are, and being rational. I may be being irrational right now, and I own that. I maybe am. I just don't really like Severino right now. I don't like that he keeps getting hurt. But the Yankees, what they're doing to Judge right now, he has the talent, all the talent in the world, and they're still hanging on to injury proneness, which I don't agree is the case with Judge. And they're struggling to give him a contract. I think that plays into them picking up the $15 million. So the better question is not what you think will happen now, but how you guys feel. Do you think the Yankees will pick him up, even if he does come back? And because what he just did was he just showed another injury on this resume. So if they go to pick it up, they're going to talk about all of this, even if he comes back and pitches well.
Two things. One, I would argue they're not factoring that into Judge's contract extension based on what they offered him preseason. 30.5 a year for 7 years proves that they were not factoring injuries into it. That takes him through 37, 38 years old as one of the highest paid players in the game. They know his value. They're not factoring injuries into that. If they were, it would have been a 4-year deal for maybe a little more AAV.
40-something a year.
Exactly. Or maybe not even that. But so I don't think you can use that to compare it to. I think with Severino, you have to wait and see. I don't think that we can get any sort of productive answer out of this right now, because of the timing. If this was a month later, maybe. But with the All-Star break coming up in 4 days, and it's supposed to be a 2-week thing, he's going to miss right now as it sits, worst case scenario. If this is true, 2 starts at the absolute most. If that's true and you're just doing this right now because of the timing, fine. Nobody on this show, nobody in the Yankees fan base expected him to come out this year and turn in 200 innings. He's been a horse so far for us. He's been throwing 7-8 innings. He's been effective. He's been dominant at times. Nobody expected him to throw a full season. We expect him to have built-in rest anyway. So if this is just them being extra precautious because you have that break coming up, fine. I don't care. I think it's a no-brainer to pick it up, and I don't think that the Yankees would think twice about it, because to get value like that, even if he only throws 150, 160 innings, to get value like that's going to cost you so much more than $15 million a year, and you don't know what you're getting. You have a guy that can handle New York. He handled, to a certain degree, really, really well, being the ace of New York on a team that wasn't maybe didn't have the highest expectations. Look at 2018, 2017. 2017, they weren't even supposed to have a winning record. He handled being the ace of New York that young at 22 years old. Yeah, say what you want about the wild card, but he was one of the reasons we were even there with that team. I think if he's back, go ahead.
On top of all of that, we're not talking about an extension. We're talking about a 1-year option.
Exactly.
So if you're worried about him, being injury prone in his later 30s, that's not what we're talking about. It's 1 year.
1 year.
So it's worth a gamble. At 28, yeah.
I mean, look at like I said, look at Noah Syndergaard. He's what now, and they gave him $26 million a year, coming off missing 2-3 years. I would say he's had similar, if not worse, injury history than Severino. He's got a similar profile as far as stuff goes. He's a power throwing right-hander, and he got $26 million a year for 1 year. And you're basically doing the same, but you're taking $11 million off for a homegrown guy.
Yeah. Syndergaard was a free agent at that point, right? An Angels signed him. That wasn't a trade piece.
Yeah, he was a free agent. They signed him for a 1 year prove it deal, which is exactly what this is.
Yeah, I mean, Murph, what were you saying before about people pick up the option just to trade them away or pick up the option to feel it out?
I was trying to make sure I didn't mix up like what the option actually meant and sound like an idiot. So I was looking at an example, and it's not up in front of me right now, but it was something along the lines. I think it was Wade Miley, the Rangers. So he had 3-year option, and they picked him up each of the years, and then in the last year, the option, you can sign and trade him too. So if he doesn't fit in your lineup or your rotation, and somebody else thinks it's worth taking the gamble on him for 1 year, $15 million, you could always re-sign him and then deal him. If somebody is willing to take the risk of his injury and we're not, I don't really know if that's going to happen with Severino, but that's another potential outcome.
Okay.
It probably would be more if we weren't contenders, but
let me change the topic of conversation slightly to just, I know we touched on the trade deadline a ton last episode. We really put together a plan, which we put on social media, and a lot of people were like, oh my God, you're giving up too much. It's impossible to guess what the trades will be, so we gave packages of similar value, and you can't just run it through a trade analyzer and say, oh yeah, this would be accepted, because it's just not how it works. It's a crapshoot.
That has like Gallo, Hicks, and fucking a 47 ranked prospect for Juan Soto. Yeah, that thing.
Yes, so I just wanted to address that because it's a crapshoot, and we just tried our best. So there's that. But what I was really getting at here is that we talked about that at length about acquiring pitchers. Where do you stand now? And I feel like the answer is obvious now that the Severino injury has happened. We already needed starters and we were bringing it up why we would prioritize starters over relievers and even outfielders at the given moment because of the struggles of Taillon and Court and Nestor. Now you throw the Severino injury in the mix. Now where do you stand on acquiring a starter? And I'm a little concerned too, because we were talking about this before we got on the air, and apparently the price tag for Castillo is going to be too much, and according to John Heyman, we're looking more at depth pieces. I feel like that cannot be what we do. It just cannot, because
cannot get on the plane back to Cincinnati. That can't happen.
No, but regardless of, we need Luis Castillo at this point. I think this just locked in that he's the only top flight arm that isn't injury prone, right? Not injury prone, but isn't currently injured. Like Frankie Montas would be another option, but I know, but he's coming off an injury. So do you want to flirt with that now with, I don't know, that's up to you, up to the Yankees to decide. But I feel like Castillo we have to have our targets set on Castillo now more than even 2-3 days ago when we recorded, because we were talking about that just because of the struggles of the starters that are currently on the roster. Now one of the main guys who we were going to lean on because he was pitching well to this point. We were saying because of Taillon and because of Nestor, we need to go after a starter. Now, one of the top 2 guys on this roster that have been pitching well all season long is now hurt and going to deal with this for the rest of the year, even if he does come back. So if we do not get Luis Castillo, I feel like it's Luis Castillo or bust for this pitching staff, because also, if you want to look at the numbers, for the last 14 days, I mean, the eye test will tell you that everybody has not been doing too well. Cole did well last time out. He hasn't been doing well before that. But you look at the numbers, the entire starting pitching staff over the last 14 days, 4.52 ERA, 5.48 FIP, I mean, they just aren't looking good. They're giving up a ton of home runs. It's not looking good for this team. That's obvious. If you watch the games, you see that the starters are not as dominant, nearly, not even close to as dominant as they were in earlier parts of the season. And that they were on historic paces and all that stuff. So you can't ask for that day in, day out. But it did show cracks, and now I am officially worried about the pitching.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
have
think
to go.
that, yeah, I think that, we're recording this on Thursday before the game, so we'll wait to see what Nestor actually does today, but I think this is a big game for Nestor. I mean, in our last 10 games, we're 500, which has not happened this year so far, and it's no coincidence that Sevy is hurt. JMO has been god-awful. Nestor's been streaky, and Cole's been getting better. And really, Montgomery's just been Montgomery. He's just like consistently okay. So it's no shocker that our record resembles the fact that not the one strength, but our biggest strength has been declining at a pretty rapid pace. So obviously, this isn't brain surgery. Like, the front office should be able to see that, and there's no reason why we shouldn't go out there and get a big starting pitcher, not just a depth piece.
If you get depth pieces at this deadline, I've said it before and I'll say it again, that is a just catastrophic failure by the front office. Depth pieces don't do shit. That's all you've got to this point because of depth pieces. You don't win a World Series with 26 depth pieces. And yes, I know that Aaron Judge isn't a depth piece. I know Giancarlo Stanton isn't a depth piece. But we coming into the season, and now it's starting to come back down to earth. We have an ace and we have 4 depth pieces in the rotation, and you're starting to see that. Go get another depth piece, see what fucking happens. You're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to have another middle of the rotation arm that's going to turn in some great starts. We're going to say, oh, look, there's fucking Trevor Male or whatever, and he had a great start. Yeah, look at him. Oh, he's going to win a Cy Young, jokingly. But then he's going to blow up. We need somebody steady that is young, that has the stuff, that has the pedigree to come in and fucking do it. And depth pieces in any position. We talked about Michael Taylor on the last episode. No. You talk about fucking Male, whatever. No.
No.
See,
I mean, no.
I'm going to
'cause
stop
what
you
the
right
fuck are
there
you
because
doing
I
at
don't
that
see
point?
Male's
What are
not
you
the
doing?
answer, and you do need Montas and Castillo. But if there's some, I think Male is not a lateral move. I think he is better than Monty.
Okay.
I think that he is probably better than Tyone, all told. And then who know, like if he's in the rotation and Nestor moves to the bullpen, I'm still okay with that. Like that's the cutoff for me. I don't think he's the lateral move. He was a bad example. Martin Perez, or like there are lateral moves that we shouldn't do, but I'm not mad if Male's in there if we don't give up too much for him.
I'm
But
so
I
mad. If
also think
Molly
that
comes to this
Castillo
game,
is the
I'm
guy.
fucking furious. Look at his career stats. 5 ERA, 5 ERA, 4 ERA, 4 ERA, 4.5, 4.5. He's a career 4.5. He's a back of the rotation arm. What do we need another back of the rotation arm for? He's not even having a good year. I don't give a shit what his peripherals are. I don't care. I do not care if every single number on this baseball savant is the 100th percentile. Produce on the fucking field. Stop trying to find diamonds in the rough. This isn't the year for it. Last year, that's fine. They were hovering around 500. We didn't know if they were going to make a playoff. No, fuck that. Do not go out there and get a guy based on his peripherals and try and tell me that that's what's going to put us over the top, because it's not. That's not going to happen. Every guy that you do that isn't going to be Clay Holmes. There's a reason that we talk about Clay Holmes is because he's one of the 50 that worked out. You can't do that this year. You cannot do it. If you do it this year, it's a complete and utter failure.
I'm not mad about Molly. I think we could also maybe see a
He would
Montas and
slide in
Castillo
be
and a Molly.
statistically, if you put in Molly right now, he's statistically the worst pitcher in our rotation.
He plays on the Cincinnati Reds, and I know that doesn't matter as much when you're a
That might make it worse.
You're still facing people. It doesn't matter. I don't know. I gut feeling. Can't even argue with you because I agree with everything you just said. I just have a feeling that Molly would be the kind of guy that would actually come over and figure it out, especially with Blake.
That's what I said last episode.
That's fine if he does, but you can't bank on gut feeling.
Oh, I agree. He's not the answer. You have to do more.
This is the year to go for the throat. You don't go, well, I got a gut feeling he's going to be okay, and then he doesn't pan out. gone, fired. You have no business being in baseball if you're going on gut feeling in a year like this. You need to look at track records. You need to look at stuff. Luis Castillo throws 100-mile-an-hour sinkers. He dots corners. He's a career
Best changeup in
low
baseball,
three.
probably.
Yeah, he's
Except for Devin Williams.
I wouldn't be upset about it if Male was the second guy we add. Like I'm cool with
That's
getting a
what I'm
depth
saying.
piece if it's on top of Castillo, and it may make sense. Maybe we just do it in the same deal with they're on the same team, so why not just get a
If you're
pack, get a
putting-
bundle of pitchers, like say, hey, let's become the Cincinnati Yankees and just bring these guys over.
If they really want Peraza and we think that Peraza is too much to give for just Castillo, then maybe we give them Peraza and another couple long shot prospects, and maybe they do throw him in, or so, or you never know.
Why are we so scared to trade Peraza? I don't understand.
They don't want to trade him
Why?
We have a lot of shortstops.
because he's good, and I know we have a lot of shortstops, but
That's what a
shortstops
trade
can play.
is.
Listen, I agree with you, but if the Reds really want Volpe or Peraza, I'm saying Volpe's name, but it's really probably going to be Peraza. And the Yankees don't think that Castillo is good enough to trade just for Peraza, then maybe Male would be. Maybe they throw in Male and maybe it's good. Maybe it's both
That's
sides.
fine and dandy. That's not. I'm not even talking, about you in this hypothetical here. I'm talking about the front office. Why? Why do you have to have Peraza, Volpe? I mean, yeah, I get it. You want to have all the prospects possible, especially after passing on that shortstop class, because you need somebody to pan out. But look where you are now without that, and with IKF at shortstop, who is on pace to be worse than Glaber last year, at least as far as errors go. Say what you want. Yes, I know he had some huge hits last night, and he was the difference in that game. Fine. But you passed on a historic class for Isaiah Falefa to play out of position. You're banking on one of these guys to come up and be good. Fine. Nobody, not even the front office, could have expected this start. If that's the cost to put this team over the top, especially with the Severino injury. You'll know more, obviously, after the All-Star break, whatever. I don't care. I don't care if he comes back and he's healthy. You have to part with a shortstop now. Now is the time. You don't wait till next year and then Peraza's hitting 230 like, oh, shit, well, he's not what we thought he was. That's unacceptable. That cannot happen again. You did that with Clint Frazier. You did that with Miguel Andujar. You've done that damn near with Florio. You're just driving these prospects' value into the ground in hopes that one pans out. That's fine. If you get burnt, fine. It happens, but at least make the effort. This is the year to do it. I don't know. It would.
No, I agree with you. What's
cannot
the
handle it if they don't do anything?
if not now when? And I read what's his name? Theo Epstein said that. I read an article by I think it was Ken Rosenthal today, but that was Theo Epstein's thing in 2016 when he traded for Chapman and gave up Glaber, who was literally one of the top prospects in baseball
The
at the
number
time.
one prospect in baseball.
Exactly. And look how he panned out. Sure, he's good, but they might not have won that World Series without
They
Chapman.
They don't win that World
They
Series
probably
without
don't.
Chapman. And you can't say that definitively that, you know what, if you go out and get Castillo, this team wins a World Series. No, but
See,
that
here's the
just
thing,
gives
though.
you the best chance possible. If Castillo comes over here and he blows up and he can't handle New York, fine. Are we going to be pissed off? Yeah. Is he going to get booed out of the fucking state of New York? Yes. But you know what? You can't come back here next year and blame that on Brian Cashman. You can't sit here a year later and be like, man, I can't believe he fucking traded for Luis Castillo. He is the best arm on the market. It's not close in my eyes. And you go out and you get him and he's here. If he's great, like he has been his whole career for the most part, he's a bona fide number 2, top of the line, damn near ace if you don't have Garrett Cole to get you through October. If he sucks, tough shit. You did what you could do, and there's no guarantees that Peraza A is going to have a spot or B be dominant. So I don't know.
I'm with you. I think Montas and Castillo are the only two that are like that top echelon that really solves a problem. We obviously, you guys watched the last 2 games. That kid that's like Edwin Diaz's brother.
He's good.
He looks
Why him?
he throws identical. I mean, he did just blow.
They said he had the
blew it,
highest
but-
spin rate in baseball on his fastball and his slider.
Oh yeah, I mean he did.
He's 25. I mean, they're not going to get rid of him, but like, how cool would that?
No,
be?
he's the type of guy they want to
He
keep.
was good.
Yeah, except for the 2 wild pitches that lost the game. But he did.
He's good. I don't.
You know, he did. I mean, it was actually crazy. I didn't know that was his brother or cousin, or whatever the hell it is at the
Said it
time.
like 30 times.
No, I didn't know it in the moment when I was watching the game yesterday, and I saw the windup. I was like, that looks extremely familiar. And they throw, if you put them side by side, it's actually nuts how similar their windups are.
Did you keep the book by chance? Is that why you're paying such good attention?
I did keep the book. I will say this too, and I know you guys make fun of me for it. And for those of you keeping score at home like I was at the game, I brought the scorebook to the game, and I was doing it, and I felt like an old man. I had my 2 beers sitting there. I was just having myself a grand old time. But I will say it was keeping me a lot more engaged in the game, because I'll say this too. When I go to games, I don't know about you guys, I feel like I'm way less engaged than I am when I'm watching it on TV.
So I wasn't going to call you out on this until you were rude to me before we started, but I have to call you a fraud. He doesn't keep balls and strikes in the book.
That's just a lot.
I only make fun of
that's
you
what
because I
keeping the book
know what your attention span is like, because I also know what my attention span is like. And yeah, I did it
well. I did it. What do you mean?
No. Every time we've been streaming, you've been doing the book. Something happens. You're like, what happened last half?
I missed one or the other, but it overall keeps me way more engaged to the entire game, like every single out. And I think I like doing it. It relaxes me. So sue me.
No, I enjoy doing the book too. I just want to give you shit because you were not very nice.
I might get a book. I might do it too. I want to do it. I think it's a good.
It's a lot of
idea.
fun.
I explained to a guy how to record a pick off yesterday at the game. Made me feel good about myself. Channeled my inner third-year JV player days.
Yeah, it was funny. The kid that we were talking to that we met at the game, he was like, I don't know how to do the book. He's like, I played baseball. I don't really know how to do the book. He's like, oh, so you played. Like, you didn't sit the bench. and we were like, and Chandler was like, yeah, I wrote a lot of pines, so I really started to learn how to do the book in my day. But
You know what? At this point, I say it proudly. I would show up. Part of my uniform was a pen.
All right, before we continue going through this, I wanted to keep the lights on here. This episode is presented by Chalkboard. Go download the Chalkboard app. The link is in the bio of all of our social media pages, in the bio, the description of the podcast. Just scroll down, click that link, download the Chalkboard app, and join our game day group chat. It's a fantastic app. We're having a lot of fun in there. We got 500 strong in the app. We're just chatting about the Yankees during the games, not during the games, saying goodnight to each other sometimes, saying good morning. I don't know. The whole nine. We're chatting about trade rumors. Now's the time to get in. We're going to be talking about, whenever a rumor swirls around, I always get a screenshot from somebody thrown in there. It's a lot of fun. Go download the app, join our group chat, and chat with us. It's a lot of fun. And it's also, on top of being a group chat, it's a bet syncing app. So all of your favorite bets, they sync with any sports book that you use, and we can chat about gambling as well. We're not very good at gambling, but it's a lot of fun. So go download the app, and yeah.
Speak for yourself.
So in other news, in Yankees news, speaking of being back, Tyler Wade and Jonathan Loaisiga back.
I think that while we're talking about that also, but before we get too deep into this is a perfect time to also introduce what the fuck happened to Clay Holmes on whatever today is. I don't know. All my days blend together when I have to work. So
yeah, that was terrible.
So, but yeah, I'm not doing that to take away from Loaisiga. I just think those go hand in hand, especially with the expectations you had for Loaisiga coming in. And I'm not saying Clay Holmes is going to lose his spot. That's not where I'm getting at here. He's fine. He was a little shaky last night too. He was, you can call it shaky if you want on Monday, but that was just embarrassing. I
think shaky is a good way to put it.
I think he could benefit from the All-Star break. I think this whole team needs the All-Star break.
Yeah, desperately.
We're kind of
it's a good,
limping because we're 500, a little above, where you have a huge lead in the division. They're hitting the ball. It's fine, but we need the All-Star break. Let's do a little reset. Let's come out. Let's go beat the brakes off of Houston and move forward. That's all I think it is with Clay Holmes, but it's definitely something that needs to be addressed because he's given up 2 earned runs the entire year and then gave up 4 without recording an out on Monday. So,
I was just about to say exactly that. Over the last 3.2 innings pitched, he's given up 4 runs, and to date, he has 40.1 innings pitched in the entire year, and I think the number of runs he's allowed is
6.
Let me see.
It's 7.
7.
Well,
So,
actually 6. 6. Earned runs is 6.
That's exactly what I just said. They gave up 2
Yeah,
the
I was
whole
just-
year prior to that, and then gave up 4 the other night.
I mean, but then the thing is though, he pitched last night and he was fine. He was 1 hit, one inning.
Yeah, but he was still.
wasn't
Yeah,
fine.
it was still. I
was-
mean, I'm not gonna say. I'll say fine in terms of he got the job done.
It was a walk, a hit. It was,
Yeah,
The walks
It's not what we're
concern me a
used
little
to.
bit.
It's not what
Definitely
we're
not.
used to. So that it is what it is. He's.
I mean,
never
dude,
thrown- again, like everybody on this team, and that's why I've been harping on this since opening day. Even when we were winning 10 in a row, whatever, that this team needs experience because so many people have not been there. They have not thrown this volume, and that goes for Clay Holmes too. He hasn't thrown this volume, much less in high leverage innings. He needs this all-star break more than anybody. If nothing else, is just a regroup like, deep breath. I am the closer of the best team in baseball. Let's go back out and do it.
This All-Star break almost feels like a bye in the NFL, and it couldn't have come at a more perfect time. Like everybody is crawling to the All-Star break right now. Judge is dealing with his injury stuff, and I mean, since he's been injured and back in the lineup, he's been hitting 186. So he's 11 for 59 and over his last 16 games. I mean, he is probably not truly healthy right now, and he needs the All-Star break. He needs it. I mean, obviously Loaiza's back now, but he probably could use a couple extra days before we get the wheels going. Clay Holmes obviously needs it, but nobody's worried about Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes is gonna be, I mean, he's still, even with those blowups, and I never like to use reliever ERA, but in this case I will, to his defense, because it only blew up to 1.32, 1.34, even with 4 earned runs given up in the last 3.2 innings, which is crazy to say. So
4 earned runs without recording it out.
Exactly. And I will say this, everybody's entitled to their blowups, and it's not really the fault of him. It is the fault of him on that one specific game where he hit 3 batters or hit 2 batters, and that was bad. I want to say one thing. Boone should have pulled him so much earlier than that. There comes a point where somebody doesn't have it, and I know he's earned the trust to be in there.
So a 3-batter minimum, so keep that in mind.
I know, but after he hit what, 3 he hit 3 batters. And he wasn't looking great. He wasn't locating at all. It clearly wasn't his night. And I know, and it's a tough spot because he has earned that trust 100%. But I don't know. At the same time, he really didn't have it.
I'm not upset at Boone for that. I think he faced 5 batters. The minimum's 3. You give your guy who's been that dominant a chance to work out of it. Fine. He is that guy. Who do you go to there, though, is my thing. You go to Wandy after, but do you go to Wandy sooner? I don't know. Michael King was spent. Castro was spent. I don't hate it. You're not going to bring in Chapman with runners on. I don't hate it at all. I get it. Hindsight's 20/20, but I don't know. There's a 3-batter minimum. Maybe if there's not, and he comes out and he's throwing pitches over the fucking backstop, then maybe you come get him after 2 if that rule's not there. But against the worst team in baseball with the best closer in baseball.
No, yeah, I know. It's a champagne problem, and I know I'm not really upset.
Yeah,
I'm not really upset, and
lead and all that. You let him work out of that, and if nothing else, because that's experience for when you're going to need to do that. If there's
Agreed.
ever a time to give him that chance, it's against the Reds with this lead on rest. I don't have a problem with it. He blew up. It is what it is. It's fine. He's fine. Get us to the All-Star break. Let's have one big sigh, regroup, and let's go fucking do it again in the second half.
What are your expectations for Loaiza?
I expect him to return to 2021.
I was gonna say the complete opposite.
yeah, I was not gonna agree with that whatsoever.
I know we can do that, but like, the
Dude,
expectation,
he's shown. I literally have not seen one promising thing for him this whole season.
Oh, so
I don't know. I don't know how you can say that.
So disagree. Like I said, and I said this before when we had the episodes about his struggles, he's not hit, at least then when he was injured or coming up to being injured, he wasn't far off. It's not like Chapman where he's missing the zone by 17 inches. He was missing corners by inches, and he was giving up a lot of soft contact that just was unlucky. I'm going to look at his baseball savant in a minute because I know you're going to want to tell me I'm wrong here, and maybe I am, but every time he's on the mound, I still feel good about him. He's throwing 100-mile-an-hour sinkers. He's dotting it. He's a couple inches off, or at least he was earlier in the year, but you can't have that good of stuff coming off a year like you did last year and just a switch flips and you lose all of it. I just refuse to believe that until I see it for more than 5-10 games.
He didn't really have enough data this year to have much baseball savant. He has just it's that thing where he has like three things. He has fastball velocity, fastball spin, and fastball curve, all of which were red in the 96th, 73rd, and 71st percentile, but not enough data. But before the injury, he had 16 innings pitched, 18 strikeouts. So the strikeout numbers are still there. He's striking out a little over one per inning. But
he's walking a lot more.
Walks were bad. Walks and hits. His whip was 1.56. He had a 7.02 ERA, which I don't want to even point to that, but I did. So I'm sorry for that. But
his expected ERA is 3 runs lower than that. His expected
so maybe some unlucky.
It's a lot of unlucky. That's why 16 innings is not a big enough sample size to say that he's not this guy or he is this guy. All of the rest of his sabermetrics are in line with last year. I think it was a lot of just being unlucky. And if he comes out and he sucks ass if we're having this conversation again in September, then I'm worried. And I don't want him in high leverage spots because he clearly something's off. But you can't tell me in 16 innings you don't trust a guy that was. We were talking about last year, having the same conversation we're having with Clay Holmes, not today, but leading up to it. We've had fucking hours of talks about Clay Holmes on this show. We had the same thing with Loizaga last year. I'm not ready to write that off after 16 innings.
He was so goddamn good. I just looked at his baseball savant, sorry, Murph, for 2021. He's in the 99th percentile in nearly everything.
Yeah, he had a great season. And that's why, so here's the thing. You can't expect that again. You couldn't expect that again, whether he's hurt or not, whether he was dealing or not.
To that level, but I'm saying I expect him to come back and be a dominant reliever on this team.
Oh yeah, sure.
He has to.
He's gonna have to be a late inning guy. He needs to be, and that's what he can be. Clearly,
needs to be our setup man going forward.
He doesn't. Yeah, and that's when he threw that well.
Anything less than that is a disappointment. He needs to come back and be that 8th inning guy that we can trust night in and night out. If he's not, then that's a failure. I want, if this team's operating at full capacity in October, we have a big series coming up against the Astros. It needs to go Loizaga to Holmes, and I think anything other than that, no, it needs to go King, Loizaga, Holmes. You pick the order. I'll put it that way. King, Loizaga, Holmes need to be your 3.
Chapman in the 6th?
I don't want Chapman at all. Chapman's cleaning up.
Dude, if Chapman's in the 6th, and he's half of what he is right now, or not right now. If he's half of what he could be or previously was, I'm fine with that.
If Chapman's in the 6th, he's not pitching. I'm hoping starters can go through 6. So
exactly,
you got to believe you're the path to winning a game is a starter in the playoffs goes 6 strong, and that's probably the max. You're getting a blessing if they go beyond 6, but with our starters and the way they've been pitching, hopefully they can go 6. 7, 8, 9 is where the relievers come in, and it's kind of crazy to say. I don't believe in Chapman whatsoever, but it's a little wild to say that he wouldn't even show up, and I don't disagree. I think he shouldn't. I would rather see. I mean, obviously it's a series, and it's not going to be King, Loizaga, and Clay every single night. It might be a mix, but
I'm telling you right now, though, Game 7 comes up against the Astros. I'll even say right now, because right now, as it sits, I still have more confidence in Loizaga than I do Chapman. As I agree with today, that. I still do. So let's say Loizaga comes back. Maybe he's not 2021, but he's still dominant. He is, let's say, good Chad Green. Let's say he's putting up those level numbers. When Chad Green was good, we still had confidence in him. He's still, is subject to those bluffs because of the location issues. Those aren't going to go away. They've been a problem his whole career. That's why he's not a starter. Game 7 rolls ALCS against the Astros. Do you want to see Chapman or do you want to see Cole go 6? He's giving it to you. He's going on 3 days rest. And then you roll into...
It's giving it to you.
Do you want to go to Loizaga, King, Holmes, or do you want to go to Chapman King Holmes or King Chapman Holmes or fuck, God forbid, King Holmes Chapman. I don't want to see Chapman touching it right now. Not right now. I haven't seen it, and longer than the Loaisiga's dominance has been Chapman's just decline. As it sits right now, he sits very, very low on my trust tree, and I know we'll do an official one at the All-Star break, but I think Chapman slides into almost like what a Wandy Peralta role was last year. Is where I feel most confident in him right now. He doesn't need to be throwing high leverage situations, but if he comes in at a tie game or a 1-2 run lead and the middle innings, fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, but he doesn't need to be protecting a lead against a good team late in games.
What do you think about putting him in this sort of situation where you're trying to keep it close? Like you're down a run in the 7th, 8th inning.
Against who? Because that matters.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking a better team because it could translate to the playoffs. That'd be kind of an interesting role to have.
If it's in the playoffs, I'll
Say
tell
a
you
playoff caliber team, even if it's a regular season.
If it is as it sits right now, I don't want him there. But if he comes back and he proves himself and he's kind of working himself back, I'll put this out here on the record. He will never be dominant again. I do not see a scenario where he comes out and is just fucking lights out. That's not going to happen in my eyes. And if it does, like anything that I tell you, I will be the first person to sit on this show and tell you I'm the dumbest motherfucker on earth. But I do not see any scenario where Aroldis Chapman comes back, he's dominant. If he comes back and he's good, fine. I'm cool with him trying to preserve a small deficit, I guess. You know, if you're losing 7-6, you bring in Chapman, fine, whatever. If he comes back, he does that. But as it sits right now, if we roll into a playoff game and we're losing 2-3, 4-3, whatever the case may be, and Chapman comes in, I don't feel confident there. I feel like that's almost a punt. And maybe I'm wrong to say that. Maybe that's reactionary, but I don't feel good about it. He hasn't shown me anything in the last year outside of his start last year and bits and pieces of his back half that I feel confident that, not with the pen we have. If we didn't have Wandy having a career year and King being the guy he is and Holmes the guy he is and Loaisiga hopefully the guy he is, then maybe. But our bullpen is too good to be throwing a question mark out there and hoping.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree.
Tyler Wade. What are your expectations for him?
I kind of fucking love it. I don't know.
I love it. I'm super pumped about it. I mean,
Does Tyler Wade make the playoff roster?
I think he does. I don't know, because it's interesting because he's exactly that player that Marwin and Carpenter are for us.
He's got wheels.
He's got wheels though, so he has that over Marwin. I think it's gonna be a race, but he's gonna be competing against Marwin and Carpenter. It's Ken Marwin. I think Marwin may be the odd man out or has the target on his back for Wade. Like if Wade had one person that he's circling on this roster that he's trying to beat out to make the roster, because right now he's going to go to AAA, I think it's Marwin. And I think Carpenter, and I think it's more so me thinking that Carpenter can keep this up, and it's Marwin's. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it's.
The deadline's going to make a difference, I think.
Yeah, depending on if we get anybody and who that person is, it might affect it.
I'll tell you this: if there's a scenario again, if we collapse and we find ourselves in a wild card scenario, Tyler Wade will be on that roster.
Yeah.
If it's
Why?
because the speed is too valuable in a game.
Yeah.
Nobody on our bench right now has speed like that. If we
What's a
find
series?
ourselves,
It's not a wild card game.
it's a wild card 3-game series. So if you find yourself in that where every game matters that much, you're going to need that speed late innings. If you find yourself in a longer series, I mean, just kind of law of averages, it'll even itself out. Yes, you can benefit from that speed, but it's not going to necessarily be the determining factor in the series like it has been previously.
We have the speed though. Look at DJ.
That's true. Speed demon.
You can't teach speed, and the pass ball. He was. I blinked and he was there. Hey DJ, what'd you see there, DJ? Hey, the ball got past him and I scored.
I don't know. I mean, that was a dumb question, but that is just an all-time DJ.
Yeah, I don't think I like Justin Shackle.
I don't even know who Justin Shackley
He's
is.
the guy who asked the question. He looks like he looks like Ryan Ruocco with hair, and
He's a Walmart Ryan Ruocco.
Already don't like that if Ryan Ruocco has hair. That man was meant to be bald.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. If I'm picking between Tyler Wade and Marwin Gonzalez, like Marwin's a slightly better hitter this year, at least. Like I remember when Tyler Wade, he had like an incredible first half, not even first half, but first couple of weeks
I
of
know.
the season.
I was about to pull that up because it's kind of sad. It's like a fall from grace. I got
He came back down to earth afterwards.
it was
Last year.
no, but I'm just saying when he went to the Angels in the beginning of the season, we were like him and Velasquez are gonna hold it down in the middle infield. They're both playing well. He made the hot list. And he was batting like 300 and was like, holy shit, good for Tyler Wade. Like, we don't have a spot for him, so it's fine. Not upset about it, but good for Tyler Wade. Maybe he's going to get a shot. Then he gets DFA'd and he's batting 218. So
Let me ask you this.
it's like, it's
Tyler
whoever's,
Wade-
you know what it is? It's whoever's friends with Clint Frazier just gets fucking DFA'd. Clint's a virus, or
Who?
Jackson is a virus, excuse me.
Thank you. Can I ask you this in a
Sure.
half-joking manner? What, if at all, role does bringing Tyler Wade back have on Aaron Judge? Noted best friends, was trying to convince him to come out to the Angels. Now he's a Yankee again.
What if Tyler Wade is actually a double agent and he just came back to really be in Judge's ear to leave and go with him to San Francisco?
Some inception.
That'd be a wild conspiracy theory.
Or flip side, what role did Judge have in bringing him back? Like, hey,
Zero.
bring back Tyler Wade. I mean, they traded Cash for him. Cash or a player to be named later. So like,
Whenever
maybe
it's a cash deal, I love just saying it's vending machine credit, little money ball. And
Judge was like, "Hey, I'll give you like $500,000 out of my $400 million extension if you bring my buddy back."
he gave him equity in the deal. He gave him like, I'll give you 10,000 shares of my contract, which will be like $15.
Damon knows how it works better than we do, but you can talk about royalties. Like, I want 5-cent royalty on every Tyler Wade base hit until I recoup my money, and then
Over under.
Under.
No, hold on. Over under. I could have been talking about Judge. You don't know.
I have no idea.
Over under. This is tough. I'm on the spot here.
Are you just thinking of
you're
an
the
over
one
and
who brought
under?
it up.
Over under 13 games he plays in.
Over
Wade?
Really over.
one injury, he's. The
I'll
guy.
say over. Yep, I'll say over for sure.
Well, there is the one in. Well, I guess Hicks didn't make the IL. So.
Murphy's
One
still sticking with under.
One injury hit. He's up, and it depends. Are you saying started or played in? Because if
Played
he
in
comes up-
appearances.
If he
Oh.
okay, hammering the over, because if he comes up, he's going to be a late inning pinch runner at any close game.
definitely.
Excluding pinch running.
Do we have
Still over.
Still over.
I'm getting very
Do
specific.
we have any
here.
idea if his like? I don't know what his contract's like. Does he have options? Is he going to be? If he comes up, is he up or is he
It's a good
able
question.
to go back down?
I pride myself in not knowing how the options work, so I'll defer to Chandler. He's the resident options guy.
Yeah, I know how options work, but I don't know how Tyler Wade's options work. I knew that Tyler Wade was a Yankee an hour ago. So actually, I knew at 11 a.m. today because Murph sent me the same screenshot that I sent. So
I'll tell you what, he's got one less. He got DFA'd by the Angels, so.
Well, if I'm reading this right, he was never like. We traded Tyler Wade, correctly? Correct?
No. Yeah.
Oh, we DFA'd him, and
So that's two options that he does not have.
Those aren't options. Yeah, if you get DFA'd, that means you're out of
I'll put
options.
it
Oh,
this
you're
way.
right. He didn't get sent down.
Yes,
but
last
the Yankees
year-
still pay his contract.
Last year he was out of options. That was why he was on the major league team for as long as he was. And we were shitting on him, whatever. He came back, played well, whatever. I've DM'd him and told him he has an open platform to come on this show and tell us how stupid we are after he had the.
I saw you
season he
DM'd him
had.
again.
Yeah, I said, let's fucking go. Like, welcome back. But,
He never responds to that. He hates us.
oh,
Because we shit on him that one time. We said he can't hit, won't ever hit. And he commented on the post. He goes, LOL, all right, bet, won't. Stay tuned. Or like,
I'm still
waiting,
waiting for it, but
Still here.
No, so if it's anything.
it's been the
like that-
longest waiting game I've ever played in my life.
If it's anything like last year, he didn't get DFA'd last year because he was out of options. That's why he stayed on the team as long as he did.
And then
why
that's why
nobody
we
else
got rid of him.
Yeah, that's why we got rid of him as well, because he was either on the team or DFA'd. So
I will say this: his sprint speed was 94th percentile last year, and it's 92nd this year. So he might be,
catching up to him.
yeah.
Yikes.
Father time is
Yikes.
catching up to him, and I don't like it.
Yikes.
That's what you
How
call
old is
losing a
Tyler
step.
He lost literally a step.
How old is he? I
He's
feel like
27.
God, he's getting old.
Yeah, he's no longer a spring chicken. He's not this young guy
Or
who wears
some would say-
Vans on the subway and just goes.
Some would say he's hitting his prime.
Damn, he hit
You would say
268
that.
last year. That's still not
What did he hit last year?
He was good last year.
268 over 103 games. I knew he was really good in the beginning, and then
There was a point last year where we were sitting on this show talking about how he was the only person on our team producing.
I mean, he's IKF.
He's better than IKF.
Really?
I don't know about that.
I disagree, and I think a
better
lot of people would.
Go ahead.
He had no home runs.
He's better
He
defensively.
hit 270. Good defensive player. IKF's better defensively, but Wade's faster.
No.
Like,
I
alright,
don't agree.
supposed
I
to be,
don't
supposed
know,
to be,
Murph.
supposed to
That's a
be,
tough thing to bring
supposed
up
be,
right now.
Supposed to be.
Supposed to be one thing. I mean, he's just not.
Whatever.
Doesn't fucking matter. Jamarcus Russell was supposed to be awesome.
My point was that they don't hit
No,
for any
Bruce
power.
said-
They hit. They're supposed to be good fielders, and they hit 270, and they don't hit any home runs. In that sense, they're the same.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, we've hit the point in the season, is a dog shit shortstop. Yes, he provides value to this team by hitting for average and putting balls in play, which we desperately need. We haven't had that in years. But you cannot make that argument all you want that he's a breath of fresh air offensively. Don't ever tell me that he's a good defensive shortstop, because that's a complete and utter lie and wrong. He is a terrible shortstop.
Yeah, no,
He's not.
I've noticed what I mean, he just can't make the throws.
He's 21.
He also
out of-
botches balls, and he makes some really nice plays that so everybody will be like, "Oh wow, look at how great he is." He leads the American League in errors at 11. He's on pace for more than Glaber in his worst year. I know you're about to say that.
21 out of 24 in qualified shortstops, and whatever the most important defensive saber metric is, I don't know it off the top of my head. We are a noted, not big defensive saber metric podcast, but I saw it today. He is 21 out of 24 in that metric. He's not a good shortstop.
And I
He's
will
not-
say this too. I think it might be even worse than it is because a lot of his errors are throwing errors, and Rizzo bails him out on a lot of them with picking it. And the ones that I feel like even on the outs, the amount of work that Rizzo gets with picks is astronomical. And honestly, at this point, Rizzo's got a reputation to be a really good defensive first baseman. I'd be pissed because he's putting a lot of pressure on him. He's really trying to exploit him because now, if you look at the cumulative number and not the rate for Rizzo, like how many times he misses a pick, to the naked eye, it's like, wow, Rizzo's really missing a bunch. No, it's because IKF routinely throws like short hops to him every single time because he just cannot make the throws. And then on top of that, because he knows he can't make the throws,
He does the long hop, yeah.
He
too.
also doesn't have, somehow he's getting away with making errors, and I will always refer back to this in Sevy's no hit bid, just routine ball that he ducked under. Like, he's got to be letting his wife fuck the scorekeeper or something, because the dude has just he's had 6 errors not recorded. That are just blatant errors. It'll be a ground ball right to his kneecap, and he'll boot it to right field. And they're like, well, he did hit it at an 86-mile-an-hour exit velo, so we'll call that a double. But
Yeah.
but
I
don't want to shit on him too much. He was the hero last night, and I will say, as much as I shit on Isaiah Kiner-Falefa,
hero last night was a pass ball.
for a stopgap shortstop, minus the defense, which whatever, he's made some okay plays. I don't want to be too hard on him. I do it mainly as a joke now at this point because I was very upset when we got him. He serves a purpose on a team that still, say what you want, but look into the numbers and games that we hit home runs versus don't. We score a lot of runs by the home run. He is a guy that hits for a decent average. He hits a lot of ground balls. He is not a perfect player. He's not a good hitter, but he's a change that we needed in this lineup.
I like him.
There is value to that.
I really like him, honestly. All of the bad things said, I really like what he gives to this game. And we a little update for everybody. The over-under on his homers for the year is 0.5. And he almost hit one yesterday, and it was almost a grand slam.
Dude, he got all of that ball.
He almost got that. I mean, warning track for him
all of it.
He got all of it.
He got all of it.
He got all of it and didn't hit the warning track.
He got the warning track.
It was the center, and he almost got the warning.
If there was no out, if I think maybe the guy caught it like on the edge of the grass. If there was no fielder out there, because the fielder caught it and his feet were technically not on the warning track. If he just let the ball fall, it would have hit dirt.
No, it wouldn't have.
It would have one hop the wall. Maybe.
I was keeping the book. I know everything.
Right.
That was an inning you were peeing or getting a beer or talking to somebody and had to refresh.
I will say I love Wednesday games because, one, we get standing room and we go sneak into the best seats in the house. And two, I went to go piss and I missed a batter. Granted, it was DJ an 8-pitch at bat, but I missed it at bat. One at bat.
I mean, that has nothing to do with the day of the game.
Yeah, it does. It's not filled out. It was against the Reds too. No, when it's a packed house, then the lines are long for everything. So yeah, it has everything to do with the day of the week.
Yeah, fair enough. But it was a good at bat by DJ, and you left in between innings. But you're right. I'm the same. Oh, that's me. Sorry, but yeah.
All right, moving on. Want to talk about? I know we mentioned a ton already about this, but Benintendi now is apparently, we're not going to make this a COVID conversation because who the fuck cares at this point, but he is not vaccinated.
I can't believe you were going to say who the fuck cares on here.
What?
What?
I did say that. So he's not vaccinated. Don't care, but how does that affect baseball? He won't be able to play in the Toronto games. Now, that same thing happened with Judge and everybody. They ended up getting vaccinated. Benintendi never had Toronto on the schedule yet, so he never has been faced with this issue. This issue is being talked about now because, obviously, you're the Yankees. You're going to be playing Toronto potentially in the playoffs. You don't want that to be an issue. I'm not really worrying about it, but that's what's being swirling around right now in the rumor mill is like that potentially might make the Yankees not want him anymore because they don't want to deal with that. What's your guys' read on that? Are you buying into that, or are you not worried?
Well, they basically said they're not in on him anymore.
Yeah,
so
I don't.
It's not really
Who
up
said?
to us. But John Hyman. But Toronto's in.
Did you just say
John
Heyman.
Heyman.
Guy, you're sounding like me, Murph.
Sorry.
I don't trust him
That's
for
even
shit.
worse.
Yeah, sure, but
He also
I mean,
was wrong on the game.
He's
So,
wrong on everything.
No, I'll back Murph up on this because John Hyman did say that, the Yankees have 6 games left in Toronto, which is wrong. They don't. And then a possible playoff series, whatever. I don't know.
Playoff series wouldn't be in Toronto. Well, yes, it would. It would be.
You would have 2 games in Toronto,
Yeah.
which
I'm an idiot.
I
Don't
think
fucking make that face, Murph.
you can't not get a guy of that caliber because and people are like, yeah, well, whatever his numbers are, his OPS plus, those are all good numbers, but they're like, yeah, he doesn't hit home runs, big fucking whoop, whatever. They're like, yeah, Ian Happ's a better option. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Andrew Benintendi is a damn good player and would help this team. I don't know why anybody would think otherwise, but I don't think that the possible maybe 2 games you'll have to play in Toronto, who just fired their manager because the movie had a little bit of a plot twist in it. I don't think that's worth not getting a guy because you still, these are the same people that are like, oh yeah, well, we don't even need an outfielder because we have Marwin and we have Carpenter and all these other things. Is it really? Yes, every game matters in the playoffs.
The Orioles are taking the spot.
But you're banking on to not
true.
go for Benintendi just solely based on that. And like you said, we're not talking about anything like that, anything with the actual vaccination status, but solely from a baseball perspective to not go after a guy because the possibility that maybe after 70 more games, he may miss 2 in the postseason, maybe possibly, who knows at this point, and that's assuming he comes to the Yankees on a contender and doesn't get vaccinated or whatever. I think that that's a stretch. If the reports are true, then I think it's ridiculous at this point. Just because, like I said, you're banking on the Blue Jays making it to the next round, and then the Yankees doing that, or the Yankees faltering and having to play them. This is a one-off scenario where a lot of things have to fall your place to where potentially maybe you have to play in Toronto for 2 games and nothing's changed. Then, if you're not willing to go after a guy because of that, then I think that's silly. Maybe they're just not showing their hand, whatever. But 2 games, I don't buy it from a logical standpoint. But then again, this isn't the year to shit on Brian Cashman because they've done a good job. But I don't even think he's that dumb to write off somebody that would clearly make
No.
your team better over that.
I don't think he is either. And I jokingly said it at first, but I think it's actually a possibility. The Orioles are buzzing right now. The test of time will tell if they can continue to play like this. I think they're on like an 11-game win streak or something like that. 10-game win streak. It's going to be 11 after tonight. But the Orioles on the flip side obviously have more talent than the Orioles have. The Blue Jays have more talent than the Orioles have, I think I said. But, I mean, the Blue Jays are a dumpster fire right now. They just fired their manager. I mean, they're just... Everybody's seemingly underperforming. They're basically 500 right now. It's the movie. I mean, this is a really fucking great movie for us to watch. I mean, I really don't think that, with all that being said, you put, even if the Blue Jays were the team that was promised like they were supposed to be in the beginning of the year when they were supposed to be this the team to beat coming out of the AL, they were the number 1 team in the power ranks before the season even started. Even if that were the case, like you said, Chandler, we're only playing 3 games against them, and then maybe if we get matched up against them in the playoffs, we have a couple games out there, and we're saying all of that, and we don't know if Benintendi might get vaccinated when given the chance, and he'll do exactly what Judge did when he was faced with that. It's just we don't know. That's a lot of assumptions. And then the biggest assumption to me is that we're even going to have to play them. So I don't know. It's just a little bit ridiculous to me.
Drives down Benintendi's value at all?
No, I don't.
Well, I don't think we have enough information. I don't think we ever will have enough information to like actually make assumptions about this, because like Real brought up a good point. Like we don't, like, he may have just like never had the need to get vaccinated, or like whatever the case may be. Like he may have never planned for it, so we don't know really the whole story behind it. I'm sure there will be some.
Same with Rizzo too.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some extravagant story that comes out that makes it seem like a lot worse than it actually is. But yeah, I think that we'll at most in a playoff series play them twice in Toronto. And again, I think if he's a guy who's going to help us get somewhere, even, before we even get to that point, and that's a big maybe, a lot needs to fall, a lot needs to happen for that to even be a situation, then I don't know. But also could just be against just like, the Steinbrenner or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, we don't know enough about it to make assumptions, but I think that he's still a valuable person to get, even if he can't, I don't think it will happen, but even if he can't play in those couple of games, I still think it's worth going after him.
I think a lot of this too is just the hysteria of the media trying to talk about it to where they're, John Hyman, not to shit on, or excuse me, John Hyman, not to shit on him in particular, but he's not been that accurate in a lot of his reporting just over the last year or two, or however long, at least the last couple of years that I've been following it. And the whole story around baseball right now is that 40% of the Royals players aren't playing. Like, they're not a true team, blah, 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 blah. I feel like that's just kind of the right thing that everybody has to report on right now. So maybe it's being blown out of proportion. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I think if you make a decision solely based off those potential 2 games, maybe in Toronto, then you're making a mistake. And I don't know that they would do that. I know that's the story right now. That's the whole storyline. But again, I think that the storyline might be a little swayed because that's what the media has to do right now. So who knows? Without getting too much in depth, with the actual stuff, because that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about baseball. I actually see it as a positive. I think maybe it'll drive his value down, and people, yeah, I'm sure they'll be pissed off about it. There'll be that select handful of Yankee fans like, oh, you're gonna get this selfish piece of shit, blah 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 blah. But even at the end of the day, I think they'll find a way to get him playing those games in October. We don't, like you said, we don't know until we're confronted with that situation. But I think if push comes to shove, if Andrew Benintendi was a Yankee and we had to end up playing in Toronto come October, he would be in that lineup one way or another.
Last thing I'll say on it, there are so many assumptions. He has the, I mean, he we're assuming he won't get the vaccine when pressed with the choice. We're assuming that the Blue Jays will make the playoffs. We're assuming they will win the first round of the playoffs. They have to, because if the season ended today, we would be having a bye, and we would potentially be matched up with them in the second round. That's also that you're assuming now we match up with them in the second round and not the ALC. Like a lot of things. Well, no, we would
So many things need to happen.
Yeah.
A lot of
I
dominoes
don't
need
put
to
any
fall.
stock in it. I don't put any
Tell you
stock
on
in it.
August, we'll see on August 2nd. But I mean, the Royals would be idiots to keep him, and the Yankees would be foolish to not go for him. I don't even like.
They're saying the Mets have interest.
The Mets always have interest in everybody.
Especially now. The Mets have interest literally in every player in baseball that's hitting above like 250.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed if he goes to the Mets.
Is it just me, or I feel there's a lot less like free agents available? Not just for us, like that fit our like needs right now, but just in general throughout the league right now.
Yeah,
It's a
not a
weak
lot.
trade.
It's not a
weak
good
trade class.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Which
look.
sucks.
We've also been spoiled though. Look at the ones past with Greinke and Verlander and all these other ones. Like, yeah, we don't have those, but there are pieces there, and we talked about it last episode, that will help this team win. And they're Luis Castillo. I'll just keep harping on that because he is the guy. To me, if you don't get Luis Castillo, and if all they're asking is Peraza, if they don't want a Volpe or a Dominguez, I think you have to part with them. It may hurt, and you know what? Like I said, maybe it bites you in the ass, maybe it doesn't, but yeah, it's a weaker trade class, and that's the best of the best. You got to get them. This is the year to do it.
Well, especially because it's a weak class too. Like the fact that it's a weak class that makes Castillo now. Just to recap, all of the factors that we mentioned on this entire show, the struggles of Nestor and Tyone. That say what you want about what they'll do the rest of the year. Hopefully, they figure it out. But at this point, we're making a decision to add depth to this rotation. We have what we have recently seen is that they're struggling. That we have that reason to go after Castillo. Now we have Severino reason to go after Castillo. We also have the thinness of the entire trade deadline options. It's a bad class. All three of those things, to me, make it Castillo or bust, and I'm going to be really disappointed when we don't get him.
Yeah, I'm ready to be hurt again.
There's
no
way we're
if you think we're adding a top line person, I'll say this now. I'm ready to get. There's been no indication. Last year they made the panic moves for Gallo and for Rizzo, but they didn't give up anything that truly hurt. And I've said it. Yeah, I said it last episode. I'll say it again now. If we're making a trade of significance that's going to help this team, it's going to hurt. You're going to feel that pain of losing somebody if it's going to help you this year, and that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. But I don't know that the front office is, and I don't know why, because I don't even remember a trade we've been burned on recently, prospect wise. I mean, Rule 5 guys.
Gallo?
I know Garrett Whitlock. I'm talking about on our side.
Like
Yeah,
we
Gallo,
you
we
mean
lost that
give
deal.
We lost.
we
that
give a
deal,
prospect and
we
that
lost that
prospect
deal,
sucked.
but we didn't give up a Glaber Torres for.
We don't know that yet. It just happened.
We do know that.
No, it just happened.
Anyway,
And what we got in return was Joseph Gallo.
I'm just saying we haven't been truly burned on one or hurt where we're giving up one of our top guys that panned out, and I don't remember when. I don't get the reluctance. I guess that's what frustrates me is I don't understand why. If we'd went out last year and traded for Trey Turner, he came to New York, sucked ass, and we gave up Volpe, and he was playing for the Nationals right now, slashing 350 and he had the fucking OPS of over 1 dot and he was just this guy, then yeah, I'd be like, all right, well, fuck. Now I get the reluctance, but I don't get it. I don't understand it right now because you haven't been burned like that. So why are you so hesitant?
We haven't given up a top 10 prospect in baseball though either.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. Is we haven't given anything up to where you can be burned to that degree. So why are you so hesitant?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think Volpe's out of the question, and I think Peraza just has to get the right price.
Castillo.
Maybe.
All right.
He's the only one that I'm good with giving him up for.
Time will tell.
Do we have anything else we need to talk about that's important?
Nope. Let's just keep the lights on. Damon, want to do the honors?
Yeah. Before we head out, before we go watch the baseball game,
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know. I was a little excited to watch the Yankees right now. Anyway, anywhoosie. This episode is also presented by Underdog Fantasy, the best fantasy sports app. You hear us talk about it. Probably being a dead horse here, but if you're not on the app already, then you're not doing it right. You're not betting right. You're not winning your money correctly. Like, seriously. Link in our bio, link in the podcast description. Click that link. If your first time signing up, smash that link. Smash that like button. If it's your first time using Underdog, you can use our promo code 161boys and get a $100 deposit match of Murph's money. We're doing a bunch of different events in there. We can, do prop bets, daily fantasy pick'em games. Rella almost won a ton of money, but Michael Kopech fucked him over.
I suck.
Yeah, he sucks. I'm placing some bets in there. It's a lot of fun. I'm sure Chandler has been putting some prop bets in there. So yeah, come and join us. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, come win some money.
Stat of the day to close this episode out. Record-breaking amount of Slim Jims that were consumed by Chandler during this episode. I personally, based on the eye test, I have counted, I think at least 4 that I've seen. 3?
3 so far. I've had many before, and I'll have some after, but
records being broken this year. Just absolutely wild stuff.
I'm hungry, man. I'm a working guy.
Yeah.
It's 8:00 this morning. I'm out here talking about the Yankees. So
You're gonna break Roger Maris' Slim Jim record?
that's what I'm trying to do. Got to fuel up somehow.
All right. That'll do it for us. As always, thank you for tuning in, making it this far. You guys are the real ones. Go give us a 5-star review on iTunes. It really helps. Go subscribe to the YouTube to watch these episodes live. Just type in Bronx Pinstripes. That's where we do those. Yeah. Go follow the accounts. Go watch the games, and let's chat in the Chalkboard group chat.